Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today here on the channel, we're going to be talking about the Bad Boys franchise and the Bad Boys franchise 4K Blu-rays. That's for Bad Boys 1, Bad Boys 2, and Bad Boys for Life. And we also have Bad Boys Ride or Die coming out on June 7th. So I thought there's no better time than now to talk about the Bad Boys movies and their Sony 4K Blu-rays. Before I get into that 4K Blu-ray review, I always like to do a film review, so we're going to be talking about the entire Bad Boy franchise. So if you don't want to know anything about it, you just want to check out the 4K Blu-ray reviews, you can skip ahead right now. So the original Bad Boys, released in 1991, that stars Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, was directed by Michael Bay in his directorial debut. Michael Bay is an auteur, not one I particularly love. If you've heard me rant about the Transformers franchise, you know I don't really love too many Michael Bay movies, but I do appreciate him, and I also really do love the original Bad Boys movie. I still think that's his best film that he's ever directed. It really just has so much style. It feels like a very long music video. One of my favorite musical artists of all time is Meatloaf, and in 1993 he released a music video for probably his most famous song, I Would Do Anything for Love. And that was directed by Michael Bay. And the way that music video looks very similar to how the original Bad Boys looks. It's a burnt orange throughout the entire movie. It really feels like the sun setting throughout the entire film. A lot of scenes at night. There's not too many shots that take place like right in the middle of the day, which most of Bad Boys 2 takes place in the daytime. So I felt like that was a big change from Bad Boys 1 to Bad Boys 2. I absolutely love the cinematography for the first Bad Boys movie, and I also absolutely love the score for the Bad Boys movie. And I felt like that was another big downgrade when we got to Bad Boys 2, was the score. I felt like when we got to Bad Boys 2, we kind of just went in the opposite direction. We wanted to try something new. We wanted to turn everything up to 10, while the original Bad Boys, produced by Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer, who have produced some of my favorite movies. They've worked very closely with Tony Scott. You know, they just make those very over-the-top action films, so of course they would be attracted to Michael Bay, but they thought this movie was going to be a failure. Don Simpson actually wanted to take him and Jerry Bruckheimer's name off the movie until they got significant rewrites done. And then of course you bring in Will Smith as Mike Lowry, and you bring in Martin Lawrence as Marcus Burnett. And these two were just sitcom stars at the time. Will Smith on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Martin Lawrence on Martin. They really weren't film actors at the time. Yes, they had both been in films, but they were mostly known for television. Will Smith also known for his rap career, but this was going to turn things up to 10 and shoot them both in the superstar. Will Smith more than Martin Lawrence, but Martin Lawrence is also great as well, and they have incredible chemistry in the first movie. Of course, the biggest problem with the first movie for me is the plot of this movie. The two of them have to like almost swap roles. You know, Mike Lowry, he's this suave guy. He's a rich kid. He got a big inheritance. That's why he's able to drive around in a Porsche that costs $105,000. My God, where's Marcus Burnett? He's a family man. He's just living on a regular old-fashioned cop salary, given they are narcotics police in Miami, so he should be doing pretty well, and we see that a little bit more in Bad Boys 2, where he kind of feels more like a beat cop in the first one because of where he lives and everything like that. And, you know, we get Joey Pants in here as their captain, and really this movie, it's about a witness. Unfortunately, a person that Will Smith knew, she dies at the beginning of this movie, but her friend was there, played by Téa Leoni, who I have just never liked her. I could only really tolerate her. I think her best movie is in The Family Man, and you know, even then she's not the standout performance. I've just never really loved her, and in this movie she could be very, very annoying. You know, basically Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett have to switch roles because, and this makes no sense, you know, you easily could just tell the girl that I was the one who picked up the phone call, Marcus Burnett played by Martin Lawrence in this movie, and just said that he was Mike Lowry because Joey Pants told him to. We could have told her a little bit after, because she only wanted to talk to Mike Lowry because that was her friend's friend, so that was the only person in the police department she could trust. But I felt like we could have told him a little earlier, so a lot of like shenanigans takes place where Martin Lawrence's wife thinks that he's cheating, and just all of this stuff. I really think it drags the movie down, despite the fact that I really love Bad Boys 1, but I'm really in it for the visuals and the audio and just for the great chemistry between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. I just have a blast watching the movie. It has some great action set pieces. It's like a very toned down Michael Bay movie, which I can really appreciate. I always enjoy this movie. I have a blast watching it almost every single summer, and then when 2003 rolled around, I was 11 years old. Bad Boys 2 was a big deal coming out. I mean, this movie had a big budget. People were so excited. It's been 8 years since the first Bad Boy movie. You know, at this point, Will Smith is a superstar. I mean, in the early 2000s, that's probably the height of Will Smith's powers. You know, Martin Lawrence, you know, he kind of came through that big run of movies for him. Martin's not on TV anymore, so we're really bringing him back. We swap out Taylor Leone for Gabriella Union, who plays Martin Lawrence's sister in this movie. She has a secret relationship with Will Smith, and I think the thing that Bad Boys 2 does way better than the first Bad Boys is the story and plot. I think the plot of the movie is much more interesting to keep you engaged, but I do not like the cinematography of Bad Boys 2. It takes place mostly in the daytime. It's just very bright. You know, we have a lot of white lights in this movie. It really just takes place like almost like from 12 to 3 o'clock, and I just feel like it takes away from the movie for me personally. I appreciate what Michael Bay was going for. You know, we don't want to rehash the same thing that we did in the first movie. The action sequences are going to be turned up to 11. I mean, we have cars falling out of trucks. I mean, the action sequences are what stands out. They're all done practically, and I love every single one of them. Some of the shots in this movie are phenomenal. I just personally don't really love the cinematography, and I don't really love the score for this movie, but the performances and a lot of the laughs in Bad Boys 2 cannot be denied.
He just got out the joint.
Why you putting all my business in the street? Why you putting all him? I just got out of jail and
I also had the Bad Boys 2 poster on my wall for years. I loved the hell out of that DVD. It was a big deal for me in my, you know, early preteen and teen years, just because, I mean, they're having a blast. And these guys were the coolest guys, Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett. You wanted to be cops like them. And, you know, Marcus Burnett, he's always just crying and whining. And I love that Will Smith in Bad Boys 2 says, I always just thought that's how you process things. So many great laughs in Bad Boys 2, and I've rewatched that movie probably like 10 or 15 times at this point. I've already watched it twice this season. I just absolutely love Bad Boys 2, but not as much as Bad Boys 1. And, you know, I always would revisit Bad Boys 1 and 2, and then for a long time we had heard rumors of a sequel coming. I never believed that it would actually happen. Then in 2020, and this is the highest grossing film of 2020, mainly because of the pandemic, obviously, it managed to sweep in right before the world got shut down. I saw this in theaters, in IMAX, and I absolutely loved Bad Boys for Life, the third one in the franchise, and I do think that this has the best plot and story of all three movies, and it's really building upon Bad Boys 1 and 2, the characters of Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett. We find out that one of the characters has a secret son, and I really do think that helps to make the villain be memorable, because the villains in the first two movies are completely forgettable. I mean, they're playing very similar roles, and we know what they're there to do. They're just over-the-top, scene-chewing actors, but unfortunately, they're not the greatest of actors, so they're very forgettable, even with what they're given. And that's really unfortunate, but thankfully in the third villain, we actually have a villain who ties into the history of these characters, and I absolutely love that decision. This one isn't even directed by Michael Bay. Even though it does kind of feel like a Michael Bay movie, you can clearly tell that the directors who are Adel and Bilal, who, you know what, I haven't seen any of their other stuff, but they do a phenomenal job in this movie, and they're actually going to be directing the sequel, Bad Boys Ride or Die, which I'm absolutely looking forward to. So they did such a good job with the third movie, and I mean, they really turned up the violence. They're playing with your heartstrings in this movie, and also the cinematography and bringing back the original Bad Boys theme. I mean, it was speaking to my heart. It really felt like they love Bad Boys 1 as much as I love Bad Boys 1, and it really did feel like a spiritual sequel to the original Bad Boys, while also obviously having elements with Bad Boys 2. We bring in Reggie from the second movie, which I thought was hysterical, really playing into that character, and had one of the most classic scenes in Bad Boys 2. So you can clearly tell that these directors, they knew the assignment, they must be fans of the franchise, and they pumped out a fantastic movie. If I was going to rank all three Bad Boys movies, I would actually go 1, 3, 2, but they're all really close to each other. I honestly think that the Bad Boys trilogy is criminally underrated when it comes to movies, because, you know what, I guess there's such a big gap between the movies, and we talk about bad legacy sequels. All three of these movies are above an 8 out of 10. Yes, all three of them have their flaws, but there's always something that overwhelms the rest of the movie that it feels like, you know what, this is a great movie, and I absolutely enjoy every single Bad Boys movie. And if you haven't seen them and you're looking forward to Bad Boys Ride or Die, and this is the time you're finally going to check them out, maybe you want to check them out on these Sony 4K Blu-rays that we're going to talk about right now.
You all up in that. Get out of the car.
Asking you, man. Bad Boys.
One last time.
So, this is my Bad Boys collection, and I actually just upgraded my Bad Boys 1 and 2 4K Blu-ray, mainly because I thought that the Blu-rays that were done by Sony were phenomenal. That's these Blu-rays that are right here, and these scans that are on here are pretty much the same scans that end up on the 4K Blu-rays, which are right here. And before we go any further, I just picked these up, and they're probably still on sale for the same price I bought them off of Amazon of $27, and that's an absolute steal before we go any further. Now, like I was saying, those previously released Blu-rays, those 1080p Blu-rays, they do come from 4K scans, and those are the same 4K scans that you're going to find on these 4K Blu-rays. But now, when you go to 4K Blu-ray, you're going to have HDR10, and you're going to have brand new Dolby Atmos tracks. Well, brand new Dolby Atmos tracks for the time when these 4K Blu-rays came out, that is. Even having the same scan, that HDR does phenomenal work, mainly on Bad Boys 2, because one thing I always complain about with Bad Boys 2 is that it just looks too white and too bright, and I really felt like the HDR actually was reining that in, and it actually made Bad Boys 2 to me not look like an ugly movie like I always think of it. Now, I'm going a little bit too far because the packaging for this is phenomenal. I mean, they really broke out some nice china for this one. I absolutely love what they did for this case. I think it looks great. I didn't expect it to look this nice. You know, we got different types of material, a matte finish with a glossy finish on top of the Bad Boys 1 and 2 font. And then, you know what? We got like these really cool cases where you take them off like this, like it kind of comes out the bottom, which is very unique. I've never really seen this done before. And then you got each movie poster like kind of like right here. You know, they look like the original movie posters but stretched out. And then when you open up each one, they kind of play into what each movie is. So if you come inside, yes, it's a blue Blu-ray disc and a black 4K Blu-ray disc. Would have liked some individual disc design, but look at the design, the interior boxwork behind that. If you're a fan of the Bad Boys movie, they did such a great job. And they did the same thing for Bad Boys 2. I absolutely love the choices they made on the packaging. Phenomenal packaging work by Sony. I absolutely love that. Given I keep saying Sony, it does have the Columbia logo on this, but Sony owns Columbia, so of course it's technically a Sony company, and they even write that under the Columbia Pictures logo. I don't know. It's still Sony. And then, of course, like I was just saying about the visuals, I think that they are both visual upgrades over the previously released Blu-rays. But there is one thing with the previously released Blu-rays that I think kind of works more in Bad Boys 1 favor than in Bad Boys 2 favor, because honestly, Bad Boys 2, it's a pretty significant upgrade in my opinion, just because it cleans up a lot of my issues with that HDR10, and also, of course, maintaining that film grain. There is no Dolby Vision on all three of these movies. They're all HDR10. I'm not too sure why that is, and it's weird because, you know, Bad Boys for Life came out so many years after Bad Boys 1 and 2, but, you know, that was a decision by Sony. Usually we see Warner Brothers do that, but I'm not too sure what the reasoning is. Maybe they had some kind of deal with Dolby expire, because Dolby Atmos tracks are featured on Bad Boys 1 and 2, but on Bad Boys for Life, it's a DTS-X track, and then, of course, we have a DTS HD 7.1 compatible track. So, you know, it's a little bit strange that there's no Dolby Atmos track on Bad Boys for Life, but that doesn't really matter. All three audio tracks are phenomenal, and I keep getting away from the visuals here to tell you how good the audio tracks are, but I also really like the audio tracks on Bad Boys 1 and 2 on their Blu-rays. The DTS HD 5.1s, they're really good as well. And but you can only experience these brand new audio tracks, whether it be the Dolby Atmos tracks or Bad Boys for Life, the DTX track, on the 4K Blu-rays. The Blu-rays will have the previously released audio tracks. On the new Bad Boys for Life Blu-ray, you'll have a DTS HD 5.1, so you cannot experience the Dolby Atmos track or the DTS-X tracks unless you have those 4K Blu-rays. Now, the Blu-rays that are packed in with the new 4K Blu-rays are the previously released Blu-rays. They're exactly the same. Those are going to feature all of your extras, and the extras on Bad Boys 1, not too great. It does have a making-of documentary that's about 27 minutes long. Would have liked a little bit more. You know, you get some deleted scenes. You get a commentary track with Michael Bay. And, you know, this is Michael Bay where he kind of seems like his less arrogant self and more appreciative of the film he made. You know, if you listen to the Armageddon track, he just kind of, he sounds like an asshole sometimes, Michael Bay. But, you know, he seems a little bit more humble on that audio commentary track. And then, of course, Bad Boys 2, they really gave us so many extras. First of all, if you put all these featurettes together, you get like an hour and 7-minute documentary. Absolutely love that. Deleted scenes, music videos. I mean, Bad Boys 2 definitely got the best end of the extras. Bad Boys for Life, you know, there's some good amount of extras, but it feels more like promotional extras than anything, because at the time when that 4K Blu-ray came out, and that's why if you saw it, it has no slipcover. It was really, let's get the movie out, but that doesn't matter because the quality of that 4K disc, as far as the visuals go, out of all three movies, Bad Boys for Life looks phenomenal. I complain a lot about how modern films look, but if they look like Bad Boys for Life, you know, really using the actual setting of Miami, practical effects, instead of just being overly reliant on CGI, using CGI more as a tool, and so that this movie feels very violent and dark, instead of it being more reliant. Now, there are some issues with the CGI in Bad Boys for Life, mainly in the third act, but nothing compared to what we get in 2024 with these movies. I actually think that the cinematography in Bad Boys for Life is great. The audio is great. That 4K Blu-ray is the best, but of course, it's the most modern of the films, so that does make a lot of sense. Shot on the most modern cameras. And, you know, not using those green screens, I really do think it makes a difference in making Bad Boys for Life look phenomenal. I think Bad Boys 2 is still the worst looking of all three of these movies, but that one also has a very interesting plot and story, and it's very funny. All three 4K Blu-rays, I think, are very, very, very well done. If I was going to rank how the 4K Blu-rays go, I would honestly go 3, 2, 1, even though 1 is my favorite film. I do think that the first 4K Blu-ray for the first one, honestly, you know, one thing when we go from the Blu-ray to the 4K, because we're sharpening everything up, making the skin look more natural, and we're making the backgrounds look, you know, more clearer, we kind of lose a little bit of that hazy effect for Bad Boys 1 that I absolutely love, but it's very close. Like, these jumps from the Blu-rays to the 4Ks, it's not the biggest jump in the world, mainly because they're Sony Blu-rays, and they're very well done, and it's the same scan. So those 4K Blu-rays, they're not the biggest jump, but they are still jumps, and I do think that Bad Boys 2 just cleans it up a little bit more than Bad Boys 1 did. Like, Bad Boys 1, I'll go back and forth if I watch the Blu-ray or the 4K Blu-ray, but the audio track is enough to put it over the top that I'll probably choose the 4K Blu-ray, plus the phenomenal packaging. So overall, how would I grade these 4K Blu-rays? Well, I'm going to give a grade for each and every single one of them, because I do think that each 4K Blu-ray is different from the other one. So for the original 4K Blu-ray, I'm going to give that one an 8 out of 10, while Bad Boys 2, I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10, and then Bad Boys for Life, I'm going to give a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason I'm even taking 0.5 off is because of the extras, but if you're just into the visuals and audio, that is definitely a 10 out of 10. So 8 out of 10 for Bad Boys, 9 out of 10 for Bad Boys 2, and 9.5 out of 10 for Bad Boys for Life. Now, all of these are pretty cheap at the moment, and I can highly recommend them, especially if you're a fan of the Bad Boys movies, and if you've never seen them, I can highly, highly, highly recommend them, especially in the summer season of movies. This is the time where you want to watch a Bad Boys movie, especially taking place in Miami. It feels hot, and it's the perfect time to watch a movie in the air condition with the sun setting, and the Bad Boys franchise will definitely leave you feeling pretty damn good about the summer and getting ready for Bad Boys Ride or Die on June 7th, which I absolutely cannot wait for. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think of the Bad Boys franchise in the comment section below. But guys, it is Friday. That means it's time for our digital code giveaway. In every single video that I do here on Friday, I'm going to ask you guys 2 digital code giveaway questions. All you got to do is answer one of those questions in the comment section below. As long as you do that, you come back to Tuesday's video. I'll put your name on a magic wheel. I'll spin that wheel 2 times. The 2 names it lands on, they have their choice of the digital codes that you've seen on your screen before you today. And we're talking Bad Boys, we're talking Will Smith. I want to know from you guys, what is your favorite Michael Bay film, and what is your favorite Will Smith film? Leave those answers in the comment section below. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on, share this video. Maybe you want to become a channel member, because on Tuesday we're also going to be doing our channel membership giveaway, and that's when we give away a piece of physical media to one of our channel members, whether you're under the Friends of the Channel tier, whether you're under the Producers tier like John Doe Juggalo, Jason Martin, or Mr. Smelly Potato, or the Directors tier like Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews. We'll put your name on a magic wheel, we'll spin that wheel, and then those winners have their choice of a piece of physical media, such as possibly Thor Love and Thunder on 4K Steelbook from Disney, the Mad Max anthology film series, only up to Mad Max Fury Road. There's actually going to be an upgrade to this with, you know, Furiosa coming out. They already announced that. The Italian Job from 2003 from a Paramount 4K, really good 4K Blu-ray. And then, of course, an 80s classic, The Lost Boys. So if you're a channel member, you have your choice of this if you win this giveaway that we'll be doing on Tuesday. But if you got no money to throw away, guys, we don't mind at all. We just hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, get out in those streets and tell your friends about us. And then we'll be seeing you around.